And welcome into this week's edition of ACAP Today for the week of August 22nd, 2022. I'm Jason Parent with Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's edition of ACAP Today, we're going to catch up with a couple of folks who have been very involved in ACAP's program to help particularly senior citizens throughout Aroostook County access the state relief payment, the pandemic relief payment of $850 that was allocated by Governor Mills and the state legislature earlier this year. There's still until October 31st to do that, but we're going to talk about the progress thus far, and it's pretty impressive. We're going to hear about that in our feature interview in just a little bit. But before we get to that, as we do at each point in the broadcast, at this point, we want to share with you the news and information that you can use for this, again, the week of August 22nd, 2022. And we begin in the news and information that you can use with this, an open invitation to all of you to join us for an open house on August 26th between 2 and 5 p.m. at the Gouldville Early Care and Education Center at 44 Park Street in Presque Isle. This is part of the Central Aroostook Area Crown of Maine Balloon Festival that's happening, and we certainly want folks to come in for that this particular weekend. Again, one and all are invited to join us for this open house. We will be serving some light refreshments and providing tours of the recently restored historic Gouldville School. We're not quite done on all of the restoration, but most of it is done, including a beautiful restoration of the hardwood floors in most of the building. And we think especially people who went to school in this building, or perhaps you even taught in this building or otherwise worked in this building, or just have some familial connection to this building, we invite you to come in and join us to check it out, come for the tours, and come to reminisce about good times spent in this historic school building. We also want to invite the community in, and this time up in the St. John Valley, although folks from Central and Southern Aroostook who have a hankering to sort of relive something historic as well, and that's hand picking of potatoes. We're going to be doing that on September 9th. 2022. That's a Friday. It's from 1 to 4 in the afternoon, and it's at GB&D Pelletier Farms, who along with Northeast Packaging Company have been our partners on this project thus far, and that's the 50th anniversary ACAP potato plot. We'll be picking potatoes. If you come and join us, you can pick the potatoes. We ask that you bring a basket or pail or whatever you'd like to pick potatoes in. We will package you up a 5-pound bag to take home with you in a special commemorative bag printed by NEPCO with the beautiful artwork you're seeing here by the selected artist Gert Thibodeau. You can go home with that 5-pound bag, but you'll be helping us to pick potatoes for those who are otherwise food insecure over the coming months. And our friends at Versant Power will be helping to get the potatoes that we pick and that we put in the bags out to food pantries and community cupboards across Aroostook County in the weeks and months that follow that. It's also part of the Greater Fort Kent Chamber of Commerce Coming Home Weekend, which is partnering with UMFK Homecoming. So there's a lot happening up in the St. John Valley. So if you take a ride north up to GB&D Pelletier Farms on the St. John Road in St. John Plantation to join us for picking, there's plenty of other things to do while you're up in Fort Kent at that time. So please do consider joining us. Bring kids. Bring folks who remember hand-picking potatoes back in the day, and have a great time reminiscing and also helping those who are food insecure in Aroostook County at the same time. We also, at this time, speaking of folks who are vulnerable and heading into this winter season, many folks are as a result of the relatively high cost of heating homes these days. We're reminding folks that our home energy assistance program is available to help. We're encouraging folks to call to schedule an appointment for this season. We're scheduling out a bit now because we have so many people that we need to get in the early months of the season. But we've added staff and we have availability, and we're hoping to take more applications today. The applications continue well into the spring and summer months of next year for this season. If you are not a current customer, you can see there the income eligibility guidelines right there on your screen for up to 5 households. If your household has more than 5 individuals in it, those income levels continue to increase. So you can certainly check out our website or give us a call if you have more people in the household. We are encouraging folks to give us a call to consider whether or not it might be worth applying for folks, and we are really encouraging folks to apply. A few things to note in that. The HEAP application itself is completed during a HEAP appointment. Those are conducted either in person or over the phone, and there'd be some required documents that you need to get back to us. It takes about 2 to 8 weeks, depending on how soon required documents come back from that, for fuel to be processed, and it goes directly on the fuel vendor account, your fuel vendor account, so it doesn't come directly to you in the form of cash, but rather as a credit on your fuel vendor account. There's also the opportunity to take out-of-pocket medical expenses that you might have paid in the prior 12 months before an application can be deducted from the household income amount. So if you don't meet those income qualification guidelines you're seeing there on your screen, but have some out-of-pocket medical expenses, it is worth giving us a call, because we can look at how we can deduct those to shift the income guidelines so that you might be able to qualify for this year. And then, of course, the benefit amount for eligible households does vary depending on that household size, income, and other factors. So please do, again, if you think that you're close or that you are in need of assistance this year, give us a call so we can get a processed application started. And the farmers markets continue. The farmers markets in partnership with ACAP's WIC program and Gone Farms out of Caribou. They will be offered coming up next week on August 29th, Monday, August 29th. There will be a farmers market at the ACAP 771 Main Street Presque Isle location. And then there are 2 in September on the 8th and the 14th, and that will round us out for this year. And we thank our partner farmer at Gone's for being here for several days this year, including a bonus one during the back to school bash a couple of weeks ago. We want to just acknowledge that this program is not only for WIC participants. If you're passing by on one of the farmers market days or want to make a point of coming in for it, you can purchase produce whether you're a WIC participant or not, or whether you participate in any ACAP programs or not. It's open to the public. We are continuing to gear up for a new school year. In some cases, schools in Aroostook County have already started, but our Head Start and Early Head Start programs are gearing up for a new start to a new school year. If you have a child who you think would benefit from these programs prenatally through the age of 5, please give us a call at 554-4176. We have very limited availability across Aroostook County in our different locations. But certainly can also get you on a waiting list, as we do have shifts in the course of the year sometime that allow us to bring families in at different points in the year. So please do reach out to us if you are interested in enrolling your child in Head Start or the Early Head Start program. We are also reminding folks about the Maine's Workforce Collaborative Workshops that ACAP and the partners listed on your screen there continue to offer, that include employment training program, informational sessions, interviewing tips and tricks, resume and cover letter developing, and much more. The registration page can be found on the workforce development page of the ACAP website, and we encourage one and all who could benefit from these sessions, these online sessions that are offered free of charge, to please go on ahead and register to take part. COVID-19 levels in the state of Maine appear to be green. Again, this information may be outdated by the time you're watching this program, but we certainly are continuing to encourage folks to get vaccinated or boosted at this time. If you are in need of assistance in locating an appointment and can't go to the website on your screen for whatever reason, give us a call here at ACAP and we can help connect you with a vaccine appointment nearest you. There's also a free ride program available. That number's on your screen there, and they're asking at DHHS for a 48-hour advance notice on that. And free at-home COVID tests. Again, a new cycle has been recently offered for these. So if you had previously applied for 1, 2, or even 3 test kits or sets of test kits, you may be eligible to go on again. We encourage you to go to the website covidtest.gov or call the 800 number there on your screen to see if you could have another set of tests sent to your household address. And we also are in our COVID corner today talking about COVID exposure guidance. There has been some changes here in this regard. If you were exposed, this is from the CDC, to the virus that causes COVID-19, or have been told by a healthcare provider or public healthcare authority that you were exposed, there are steps that you should take regardless of your vaccination status or if you had a previous infection. So you want to watch for symptoms for 10 days, wear a mask around others indoors for 10 days, test for 5 days after exposure or sooner if you have symptoms, and if you test positive, follow isolation guidance. And you want to take extra precautions for that 10-day period when you are around people who are more likely to get very sick, so those who are especially vulnerable and have a number of pre-existing conditions. So this is a change. You don't need to isolate or quarantine anymore if you just are known as a close contact or exposure, if you will. Rather follow these guidelines. And certainly if you are COVID positive, then indeed you are asked to isolate at that point. So we'll just remind you of these, continue to remind you of these in the weeks to come as well. And also, if you are, in this particular case, now COVID positive and you need help to be able to quarantine, please give us a call. We can help with grocery meal deliveries and other support services through the COVID-19 community supports. You can call us directly at the number there on your screen, or go to the CDC website and check out community care for social supports. And lastly, if we haven't talked about something on this newscast or on this broadcast, and you are in need of help in any way, need assistance, but aren't quite sure where to reach out or what programs may be available to you, we encourage you to reach out to us here at ACAP. We have a fine team of navigators, one of whom will be joining us in a moment, who can help connect you with programs both here at ACAP and in the community to provide you with the assistance that you may need, or at least give you a good lead to help connect you with a resource. And that, with that, is this week's news and information that you can use. I'm pleased now to welcome to the program two repeat guests. Sherry Locke has been on this program a number of times. Sherry, welcome back.
Thank you, Jason.
And Eva, I believe you're making your second appearance on ACAP today, so welcome back to you as well. All right, and Eva, we're going to have you unmute so that we can continue the conversation for Eva. I think we had this problem last time as well. I shouldn't have asked you to mute earlier, but Sherry Locke, we're going to be talking with you and Eva today about a program that I think has gone beyond our wildest imagination in terms of people that we've been able to reach here in Aroostook County, and that's the State of Maine Tax Filing Preparation Assistance Program that ACAP sort of picked up this spring. Kind of unexpected and unanticipated, and then has continued to offer through people like Eva and others across the organization. So first of all, talk about this program, why we picked it up, and sort of give us the lowdown of how things have gone.
Yeah, so the relief payments were announced by the governor's office in May, which is just after the traditional tax season ends. Typically that ends in May, April 15th. As a member of the Aroostook Cash Coalition led by the United Way of Aroostook, the coalition was contacted to see if we had capacity to continue providing assistance to folks who traditionally did not need to file their taxes, but who in this case would need to be eligible for that $850 relief payment. The coalition itself did not have capacity. That program is strictly volunteer driven, so did not have capacity to continue this work as they had just completed a very long, very impressive season. So as a team, ACAP took a look to see if that was a service that we could offer and how that may work. The timing worked really well for the agency and other programs and services that we were offering. So we decided to jump in with both feet, thinking that initially that maybe we would help a couple hundred folks here in Aroostook County access that $850 relief payment. Little did we know that as of August, we would have had over 2,700 households in Aroostook County contact us for assistance, allowing us to not only provide that help access the tax relief payment, but connect them to the other refund they are entitled through Maine Revenue. And then Eva and her team have really done a great job connecting those customers to dozens of other ACAP services. So again, the program has far exceeded our expectations in many, many ways, and happy that we could help this population that otherwise would not have been able to access that relief payment.
And I'm going to come back to you in just a little bit to sort of get the impact made. You talked about the numbers reached, but the impact, what that has meant literally in terms of dollars and cents coming back into Aroostook County to a very vulnerable population. But I want to turn to Eva for a moment to get more or less the human interest part of this story, because the numbers are obviously very impressive, Eva, but the impact and the difference made in the lives of people, which you have felt, who have sat across the desk from you. You've seen the relief, you've seen the tears of the thousands, 2,700 that Sherry mentioned. I know that you have done hundreds of those yourself. What have you seen, felt, heard, experienced as a result of your work helping seniors and those with disabilities across Aroostook County file their state of Maine income taxes, and what that's meant for them?
What we have been experiencing and seeing is so many families have come in and filed, and once they found out that they got an extra benefit plus the $850, a lot of tears, people crying, stating that they can pay their taxes this year. A lot of the elderly saying that they can go and get groceries and stock up a little bit more and not have to worry about not having this item. Being able to pay for medication. Last week I had a gentleman in my office, and we did his taxes. He came in, he was, pretty sad. And after doing his taxes, he found out that he was getting an additional $712 plus the $850. And he sat across from my desk and he cried. And not just little tears, but a lot of tears. I mean, this gentleman cried, and he was saying, I can put this much away so I have gas to get to my medical appointments, where the day before I had given him a gas card. I can get extra groceries. I don't have to worry about my lights being turned off. Just so many people coming in and just so appreciative of getting this money and listening to them on what they're going to do with it. And it's everyday things, nothing big or extravagant. It's getting food, paying for medication, paying for their electric bill, not having to worry about putting gas in their car to get to and from work or to get to medical appointments. So it's been a real eye-opener for me personally to see what the needs are in our community. The other is, as a navigator, talking with these people, being able to direct them to services that they can also benefit from more, heat, rental assistance, WIC. We had a young lady in here that was pregnant, didn't know nothing about WIC, so going there, job reinforcement, just so many things to help them. And by the time they leave the office, they're happy tears, getting a lot of hugs on the way out the door, which is always wonderful, and meeting so many great people. It's been wonderful.
Eva, I agree wholeheartedly. I have, on the a couple of tax palooza days, I've served sort of in a air traffic control position, and prior to that have done some of the filings myself up in the valley and northern Aroostook and in southern Aroostook, really, in some of our more distant location sites. It is pretty sobering, I think, in addition to being very rewarding. When we think about what folks who are coming into us to have their taxes done, first and foremost, they're coming in to have their taxes done because they don't meet the threshold of income where they make enough income to typically file for federal or state tax, or need to file for federal or state tax. But it's really almost alarming ways, Eva, to see when folks are coming in and they provide you with that statement of Social Security or other income, and you think about your own situation, you wonder, gosh, how can they possibly make ends meet? I know that you've seen that, and it's gut-wrenching, isn't it?
It's very gut-wrenching. And a lot of these people come in, when you ask them what their income is, it can range from $540 a month to $850 a month. And you think to yourself, how do they do this? How can they survive on that little bit of income? Right now, especially, with gas prices so high, food prices so high, electric cost is high. It's very difficult for them, and I don't know how they do it and how they've been able to survive doing that. So this tax relief has been a blessing to so many people out there. And once they come in, and we can refer them to other services within ACAP and outside of ACAP, it's even, more of a blessing to them and to me to be able to give them that information and to be able to do this service for them, to fill out their taxes. So it's been rewarding in a lot of ways to me, to be able to help do this for these people.
And Sherry, the amount of money that's coming back, I mean, the $850 for each individual is part of the relief payment. And then as Eva stated, there are many that also get additional returns. Can you help us understand what are those additional returns? Why is there an additional amount of money when the taxes are filed that are coming back to folks, and what with your knowledge, how is that calculated and why is it such?
Absolutely. So I think it's important to note that, as you mentioned, Jason, these folks aren't required to traditionally complete the tax return. But if and when they do, and we encouraging them all to do that for future years, they may be eligible for a property fairness tax credit, meaning that the difference between the amount of property tax that they are paying if they're a homeowner and their income is very small. So that is giving them a refund there. There's also a sales tax fairness credit based on the projected amount of sales tax that individuals are paying based on their income. And there's also another refund available there. So that was available and has been available for the last few years, even before this relief payment. So I think a lot of seniors are going to continue filing their returns for the next few years, realizing it's $130 or $500, whatever they may be eligible for. And we're hoping that they will be eligible for that for future years. The relief payment, the $850 relief payment, is actually per individual. So we're seeing a lot of households come in that may have two seniors, and they're not realizing that they are each eligible for that $850 return. So I think that's the other critical piece. To date, with just the refund that they get from doing the return through main revenue, we've seen over $500,000 in refunds be issued, and that does not include the $850. Our approximation for that is just over $3.4 million. So combined, that's about $4 million that we have helped some of the lowest income folks in Aroostook County access, the majority of which are seniors who have worked their entire life and do not have any additional earning potential. So this has just been huge for them. And as Eva said, the stories that we could share, it's folks that have worked very hard for a long time, and with these rise in prices are just unable to keep up with inflation, especially as we're going into a winter months. We're really concerned about the fuel costs. So connecting folks to other programs has been a critical piece of this, and really, I think, a blessing for many.
Eva, where do we stand with the list approximately? Sherry, we talked about 2,700 served. I know that there were folks that were calling very much so in the early months of this and working to get appointments in. Have we come close to almost getting to the end of that list in terms of being able to serve those seniors who called?
Well, the list is still growing. We get calls every day still. I would dare say we've probably got about 3/4 of it done right now. But like I said, the list is still growing. Just this morning, I got like 5 extra to put on the list, and throughout the day, more will be calling in. So it is slowing down a little bit. We're not getting as many calls, but we're still getting calls.
And Sherry, folks do have until October 31st, and we're talking about the 2021 tax return here, correct?
That is correct, Jason. So ending December 31st of 2021 is the end of that tax year. And our agency and individuals in our community can file that return through October 31st, 2022. As Eva mentioned, we are doing our very best to make sure that the folks who have contacted us, that we're getting them an appointment either over the phone or in person at an ACAP location closest to them. We're doing our very, very best. But as you can imagine, having a small team who already has deliverables and grant programs that they're working on to be able to just fit this in, it may take us a little bit longer to get to folks. We promise that we will, and we will be in touch as soon as possible. We appreciate the community being so patient and kind. Again, we saw this as something that was needed in our community, and we've made it work. with no additional staff. So it's really been a labor of love, and we've loved connecting to the community during this time.
Eva, what have we not talked about this this program, this service that we've offered to the community that you wanted to make sure folks understood, and your work connected to it?
Like I said, I'm a navigator, which means I try to direct people to services that will benefit them and help them by coming in for the tax refund and get it done up for them and stuff. A lot of these people have been able to access services that they did not know was available to them. So that has been a big benefit. A lot of people, they would come in, had not applied for heat yet. So once they left my office, they would go in and make an appointment or see somebody in intake to do that. And vice versa. We have people coming in to do the heat appointment that didn't know about the tax relief. So when they leave that office, they come to my office and we do up the taxes for them. And then I will go over other services that might be a benefit to them, or even outside of our agency, provide them with names and phone numbers of other services that they may be able to get in contact with.
Indeed. Sherry, what else from your perspective as those are closing thoughts on this topic?
I would just like to say thank you to Eva and the team that has been doing this work for the last few months. It has been fast and furious, and they have done a fantastic job meeting the community needs. Our reception team, our coaches, our navigators, it has just been a great kind of all hands on deck to make sure that we're meeting the community need. And I think I would really encourage anyone who has not done their taxes for the 2021 season, just to contact us. I also would encourage anyone that is in need of additional services, anyone who is, concerned about making ends meet through this cold winter, to reach out to Eva and the navigation team to see what other programs and services are available. They are very creative on that team and able to connect folks with the programs and services at ACAP and in our community that can really make a difference for households.
Indeed, Sherry. Well, Sherry Locke and Eva Kirk, thank you very much for all of your work on this program, and to all of our colleagues across the organization, whether they're navigators who are doing this on a daily basis like Eva, or individuals from our human resource and finance operations, even early care and education and other programs across the agency, who've all rolled up their sleeves and pitched in at one point or another to help individuals get their taxes filed, their state taxes filed for this year, to be able to access the $850 relief payment and their tax rebates coming to them, refunds coming to them. Just hopefully will help really take some of the bite out of this coming winter season, when we're expecting things are going to get a little bit difficult, or obviously very difficult, because of the cost of heating and groceries and just everything else. So important we get this this resource into the hands of folks, and it's to the credit of the two individuals on the screen and many others across this organization for having done that. So again, a thank you, hats off to the both of you and to your colleagues. And then lastly, before we leave all of you this week, we take you to our throwback snapshot of the week as we continue our 50th anniversary celebration. This week, we take you back to 1991. I was a junior in high school. Eva, I'm thinking you were a senior that year, and Sherry, you were probably in elementary school. But this is the line outside the armory at the Presque Isle State Armory, which is where the ground area where the Hampton Inn sits now, for those of you who don't remember where that Presque Isle State Armory was. And it is the Emergency Food Assistance Program, but the Emergency Food Assistance Program, or TFAP program as it was known, that at the time was administered in Aroostook County by ACAP. So that's the connection with our history there. And boy, it doesn't seem like 1991 was that long ago, but looking at this black and white picture and the cars in the parking lot, it feels like that photo, from my mind, should be from like the 1970s, and it was, like I said, from the 1990s, back when Eva and I were still in high school and Sherry was back in elementary school. So Eva, do you remember 1991?
I do remember it very well, but I wasn't in high school, Jason.
That's right, you had just graduated the year before. Way to go. That's true, Eva. Thank you for reminding me.
We'll stay with that.
Eva was class of 1990. All right. right. Well, Eva and Sherry, thank you so much. And thank you to all who have watched this broadcast this week. We'll be back next week with a very special edition of ACAP Today. We're going to talk about an exciting project coming up in our community. And we look forward to having you join us for that broadcast as well. Until then, have a great week, everyone.